Good evening and welcome to Open Your Mind Internet Radio. You have myself, Alan James.
And you have myself, Stephen George, sitting very, 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 very far away from Alan James because he's sick.
I'm sick. I have the lurgy. Well, first of all,
what?
It's Sunday the 24th of March 2013 and I have a bit of a cold. I'm a bit kind of nasally and I'm a bit blocked up and everything else. So, yeah, Steve's going to be doing more talking than I will tonight, I think. I might disappear for a few minutes and just be blowing my nose and turn down my mic and stuff like that. But it has to be done. I think we'll do a UK column thing with the weather. A quick weather report. What's the weather like, Steve?
Well, look outside. That's exactly what it's like.
I think it's a bit cold.
It's cold out there at the moment, yeah.
It is cold. We're probably going to get it for the week now. I think the cold spell is going to be coming.
What did you say earlier? There's some winds coming from the east, is it?
Yeah. Are you doing the weather report? No, Steve's doing the weather report here with his hands.
There'll be some blustery showers coming in from the east with the chance of hail, rain, sleet and possibly snow.
And it's going to be bloody cold.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. Communication channels, Steve.
Yes, communication channels are as follow. info@oymireland.com for your emails during the show and also during the week. We also have the chat facility on the website as well. There's a handful, well, there's actually a couple of handfuls of people logged in there already, so I'll say hi to all of you. We also say hi to all the lads and lasses listening on TNS and also on the UWS player and all around the world. There's a big hello to each and every one of you. Guest book, well, we don't have it, so there, can say nothing more about that. What else? If you want to give us a call during the show on the landline, you can.
Give us a call on 046 927 1212.
Thanks for that, Fiona. It's Fiona this week. 046 927 1212. If you're ringing in from outside Republic of Ireland, it's 00353 in front of that. Alan.
Okay, we've two guests on tonight on the show. Our first guest is Mariel, a girl who actually makes her own organic natural products, and she's had some great success with these products regarding health issues. So we'll be talking to Mariel shortly. And then at 8 o'clock we have a controversial lady called Mel Ve, who's a broadcaster on a radio station called Freedom Central Radio. So, and I say controversial because she has obviously an opinion on certain people that are in the truth movement. So we've asked Mel on to give us her opinion on why she feels that way. So that will be around 8 o'clock we'll get Mel V on. But for the time being, we just have a couple of announcements to make as normal. So over to you, Steve.
Yes, okay. Oh, yes. That one there, sorry.
That one there, Steve.
Sorry, I couldn't see it from all the way across the room. Yeah, we'd like to say a big congratulations to Dave from Dunnabate. If you're listening tonight, and I assume you are, congratulations. Dave was the winner of the 2 tickets last week to the Bernadette Bowen and the Dr. Brian Clement evening. I'm not sure. I'd say that there may be some tickets still available for anyone who might be interested in going. It's a meet and greet again with Dr. Brian Clement and Bernadette Bowen. It's on Tuesday, March 26th, 7:30 p.m. 10:30. From 7:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. Yes, okay. And that's
put your teeth in.
Put something in. That's in the Carlton Dublin Airport Hotel, the Old Airport Road, Clougharan. In Ireland, tickets are a mere €35 each. That's going to be a very good evening. Alan has been to Bernadette's, one of her shows before, and he was blown away. He said it's a fantastic event. So, yeah.
Great information from Bernadette.
Yeah,
there is another show on. If you actually live near Mullingar, or you can get to Mullingar, this Wednesday, the 27th of March at 7:30 p.m. in the Grenville Arms Hotel, Mullingar, a talk and demo of new technology to benefit all walks of life. Treatment for fatigue, ADD, arthritis and many more ailments endorsed by sports stars and doctors alike. Also endorsed by Bernadette Bowen, funny enough. So if you're anyway, not healthy or there's any issues you want to check out on people you know that might be healthy or suffer from any of them and probably a lot more, get yourself over to the Grenville Arms this Wednesday at 7:30 p.m, 27th of March in Mullingar. And I'm sure it'll be a good show. I've no information on pricing there. I don't know whether it's a free show or not, sorry. But you could ring excuse me, you could ring the Grenville's Arms and just check. They should be able to tell you about that.
This is not Bernadette Bowen event, is it?
No, I don't think it is. That Bennett's is on the 26th, isn't it?
Yeah, I just wondering, because when you say that it's endorsed by Bernadette Bone, I just wonder was it something that she might be doing? I suppose we'll try and find out during the course of the show.
I don't think so. I just think she's looked at it and she's endorsed it.
So anyway, it's new treatment for fatigue, ADD, arthritis, and many more ailments. What is it? It's a gun or something, is it? They just shoot you.
It's a one big massive tablet, Yeah. I don't know. I didn't get the details, but then again, if you go along to it, you'll find out all about it.
Yeah. And it's only in Mullingar.
Okay. Right. Donations. Thanks again for the people donated during the week. Fantastic. All amounts count. It doesn't matter whether it's €2, €3, €4. It doesn't matter. Everything helps. Thanks a lot for your donations during the week. It goes towards supporting the OYM, which is fantastic. Bumper stickers again. Thanks for the people buying the bumper stickers, getting the stickers out there, and passing them around to people who are wide awake. So if we still have loads of stickers left. No, we still have a supply here. So if you need any stickers, 5 for 5 if you're in Ireland, and a little bit extra if you're internationally in the UK, Europe, or America. We will send them out globally as well. So just make the purchase on the site, and we'll be happy to send the stickers out there. And if money is really, really tight and you don't even have that, if there's any ads on the website that you fancy or you like the look of, just click on the ad and we get a few cents for you clicking on the ad there. So all helps to fund OYM, to help us do what we do this end. So thanks a lot for everybody doing that, and thanks for your support. Steve.
And can we also mention on the website there as well is an advert on anyone who's on the chat facility now at the moment, you'll see kind of underneath that a couple of a rotating banner, and there is actually an advert in there for Alan Carna, English Riviera Productions, and Alan has released a new album. We've been playing it on the show for the past couple of weeks. It's a very good album, and we do have some copies for sale from the website, from our own website as well, from OYM Ireland. You can get a copy of the album. I'm not sure off the top of my head how much it is, but I think it's fairly reasonable. It's quite a good album, and Alan he's also involved in the Troop movement, and he's an all-round good guy. So yeah, if you fancy a copy of that album, you can pick that up as well from the website. Just on the left-hand side, I'm just looking here. It's under the main menu. You can go down to Shop, S-H-O-P, Shop, and it's in there.
And everything's there. And obviously Marx's book is still available. If you want to know what the banks are doing, how the banks, what they're doing and how they're screwing you and what to do about it, obviously Marx's book is available as well.
And that's a bloody good read, I can tell you.
It is. It opens your mind to what they're doing.
Actually, I meant to tell you, I meant to tell you this during the week. Well, actually, I meant to tell you yesterday, but I didn't. But I'm going to tell you now, live on air, as I say.
Okay.
There's a friend of my mother's.
Yeah.
And this woman is in her 80s, and I gave my mother a copy of the book, and she lent it to this lady. This lady read the book, was blown away by it, and she asked me, could she get a copy of the book? So we got one to her, and she wanted it as a gift for her daughter. Her daughter works in the revenue. And she said, and she couldn't believe what was in the book. She said it was a powerful book. She said, very easy to read, the big print and all, but she wanted a copy for her daughter, who actually works in revenue. She wanted to educate her.
Fantastic.
Absolutely.
And there's a chap who said he wants to get a book off me as well, to give it to his son who's an economist, to educate him. So that'd be pretty good. So how's your week, Steve?
My week, it never changes. As we said before, I think Alan and I were having a conversation a couple of weeks back. This was after we finished the show, and we were just kind of doing the after show synopsis or diagnosis or whatever you want to call it, and we said, you know what, life is kind of like Groundhog Day. When all you have is the few bob in your pocket to get you, from one end of the week, hopefully to the other end of the week, put food on the table, put a little bit of petrol or gas, depending on where you live, into your car, and just get you from one end of the week to the other. It is like Groundhog Day, but and it is. I think we can all agree, it is kind of pretty much Groundhog Day. But yeah, what did I do this week? This week we're kind of keeping an eye on what's been happening with the new Pope. I don't think he hasn't done anything yet. He hasn't released an album or anything. But there's a little bit of controversy that has been kind of following or shadowing him in his new position. Was actually watching a documentary. This is completely unrelated. Watching a documentary during the week on something that we spoke of a couple of weeks back, and that's Organite. Brilliant documentary and loads of information on the guy who discovered this Organite, Wilhelm Reich. I know Mick is listening in there, and Mick is well tuned into that as well. He would know a fair bit about Mr. Reich, but absolutely fantastic documentary. I learned more than I had learned already. And what else? There was another documentary I was watching, and it was something that I watched before, and I just picked it up during the week, and I said, I must actually watch. Now, I know there's loads of stuff out there that I'm supposed to be catching up on, but you know the way sometimes you come across something, and as we always say, things happen for a reason. I found myself with a copy of The Corporation in my hand during the week. You know, that DVD.
Yeah, the DVD, yeah.
And I said, oh yeah, Jesus, that was, I remember watching, that was quite good. And I stuck it on again and I watched it again. You know, after watching it the first time, I learned a lot, but watching it the second time, I learned even more. And it's a great documentary. I think it's nearly 2.5 hours long, but it's powerful stuff. I can't think of anything else now off the top of my head. Other than that, it's been pretty much Groundhog Week.
Same old, yeah.
Same old, yeah.
It is getting like that. It really is. It is getting like that.
Sorry, how's your week?
Yeah, well, I've been, I got in touch with a chap, who I'm trying to get on the show, excuse me, called John Irwin, who's a super soldier, who actually, was in the UK Army, and basically he was recruited to fight the Illuminati in the 70s, or 50s and 60s, and I actually got talking to John on Skype twice this week, and if you go into YouTube and type John Irwin, you'll actually get the documentary from Miles Johnston, who actually interviewed him. And he has a lot of interesting stuff he has to say about what he did and what went on. And, I mean, he was a trained assassin. That's what they trained him to do. And in the 50s and 60s, they were fighting the Illuminati. And this was his job. That's what he was doing. And what they had to try and pick up. Now, also, he wasn't too convinced about the Michael Prince, this chap, James Casbolt, which we talked to Miles Johnson about. That's his opinion. And John's kind of attitude is, there's 3 things you should ask, and I hope I got these right. Who are they? Why did you want to expose what they're doing? And show me the proof. Because John was saying to me, he said, look, anytime you want to see the proof, come over to here to where I live. He lives in Newcastle in the UK. And he said, I'll show you the proof. And he poo-pooed a couple of other people who actually call themselves super soldiers. He said, you know they're not super soldiers because as soon as they start talking about martial arts, he said that's when you know. Because he said, if you're trained as a super soldier, there's a thing that you're called a machine. You're trained in called a machine, which is even a higher level than martial arts. And if they were super soldiers, they'd know all about it. So, anyway, good conversation. I'm still trying to get him on the show. He's a bit reluctant to come on, radio show and talk about things. But he is trying to get backing for a documentary to expose all the stuff that he was involved in. So, but for the time being, go to YouTube when you have time and type in John Irwin and listen to the interview. Very, very interesting, really nice guy, loads of information.
And the fact that he has invited us over, I mean, as we said during the week, I mean, that's an offer that we can't refuse.
Yeah, no, John.
So we're going to have to save our pennies.
I think so. John did invite myself and Steve over for the weekend to show us the proof and show us stuff, which is excellent. If we can do it, it'd be fantastic. But like everybody, money's tight and you have priorities. But if we things change, we'd be happy to go over and see the proof because he's happy to show the proof. So that's it. That's really it. My week, apart from other radio station stuff that I had to do and get on with, which I won't go into. Excuse me. This man flu is pretty bad.
You're not going to talk about the other thing,
What?
About what you were doing.
Oh, well, okay.
Because I think that's how you got sick, personally speaking.
Right, Steve thinks that's how I got sick. No, then people think I'll have the allergy. No, I was dressed up. We had a sewage problem, and I went there and I got the wellies, I got the hazmat suit, I got the mask, I got the gloves, and I got all the pipes and everything else, and we did a grand clearance. My drains are the cleanest on Walton's Mountain at the moment. But yeah, not.
You could eat your dinner out your drains.
You could eat your dinner out. Well, I wouldn't recommend it, but you could do if you wanted. But no, I actually had this cold, before, but it didn't help. I suppose the rainy day and everything else, the weather. But yeah, so you can call me Sewage Man, dressed up. There's another superhero in town. Okay, well that's really it. That's the news for this week. So what we're going to do is going to get our first guest on, which is Mariel. Now Mariel has, she makes her own products and they're organic, and there's been health benefits of people using these organic products. So now, before we get Mariel and Mel Ve on later, we are experiencing a couple of internet issues. Our service provider is running around the country trying to fix problems because of the weather conditions, especially in the north. So there might be a little one or two dropouts now and again, and we might have to get it to repeat things. Unfortunately, it's out of our control. There's not much we can do, I'm afraid, but we'll go with it anyway and see how we get on. Good evening, Mariel. How are you doing?
Hi guys, how you doing?
Not too bad, not too bad. Mariel, thanks for coming on to the show. Before we get into talking about your products and what they do and everything else, give us a bit of a background about, how you started this and your background experience to put you in the position to make this stuff.
Well, to start off, to be honest, I was a vegetarian. I've always had quite an interest in being, more healthy and using more natural products. I've been doing Indian head massage for a while now, and I've used a lot of the essential oils and things like that for medicinal purposes, and use them for burning for specific ailments as well. And then I started working for Forever Living, as you know, and they do all the aloe vera products, and I did a lot of training with them, and they brought in doctors and told us a lot about toxins and how they build up in your body and things like that, and why it's better to use organic products. And eventually I actually started making bath salts for people as presents, and people started asking me, can you make here, or you can make this one for this ailment, and it just sort of grew from there, basically.
Okay, and obviously there's going to be people who'll come up to you and say, what are your qualifications to do products like this? And I think, we have talked before about this, and they'll probably say, do you have any, degrees or any bits of paper regarding, pharmaceutical companies and kind of education in that kind of way, paperwork. And I think I said it to you, thank God you don't, because if you did, you'd have all them restrictions that come with that. So you're a kind of free agent and you can get on and do what you need to do. But
exactly, and I don't know all the horrible products to put into my products, basically. There's basically two types of product makers out there when it comes to soap. One type is their cold press soap, basically, and they use lye and essential oils, and of course lye is very much a toxic chemical itself, especially when it's being burnt at a high temperature. And I prefer not to use that myself. Again, I'm an official apothecary and anything like that. And the other type of soap makers there, and there's quite a lot of them in the UK and America. Not many in Ireland. There's about 4 in Ireland, and they are melt and pour soap. And what they do is basically they order in bulk their base from proper apothecary companies, basically, and they will get the approval, basically. There are EU stipulations, basically, for any kind of manufacturing of soap or for distribution of soap, basically. So as long as the base is actually tested, then it's fine.
Right. Okay. And when you make your soaps and your bits and pieces, excuse me. When you make them, do you have to send them off to get checked, or is there some kind of process, for some not quality? I wouldn't say quality control, but how do you check that they are all okay and that the health authorities are going to be happy with that? Because obviously you don't want to be selling products that would upset the health authority.
Yeah. Well, you see, the thing is that there's actually no legislation in Ireland. There's absolutely none, and basically the best thing that most of the online kind of soap makers recommend is having your own standards, basically. now standards up to date, basically, like using litmus testing and basically with the essential oils as well, using specific ones as well, because with some essential oils it's fine, like say rose oil, you can put as much as you want of rose oil into certain products, but if you start using things like black pepper and vetiver, they're much stronger, they're much more potent, and they will actually start to affect people. So it is actually more to do with knowing how to use your essential oil than anything else, rather than actually, because again, there is no, basically, my bases are approved by the Soil Association in UK or EcoCert, and what is added basically is water-based colour and essential oils purely, and anything that's actually added is in such small doses, enough to have a scent basically, but enough to just be able to help the skin basically. So basically with every batch of 6 soaps there would probably be about 10 drops of essential oil in each of them.
Okay, so very, very safe. I mean, could you use these products on children, babies?
Oh yes, very much so. There's actually brilliant reasons why you should go organic, or even just more organic or more natural. I know people, do have trouble finding natural soap out there, because I've had that trouble. I've eczema, and I find I'm allergic to everything that's in the shops at the moment. The best thing you can do is basically list off the worst toxins there are, and try to at least pull them out. So when you're, shopping, you make sure make sure there's specific ones that aren't in your soaps, if that's all that you can do, basically. And I've actually got a few different ones here that are listed, and I've actually gone on to the European testing results pages, gone through a lot of the animal testing that they did with parabens, with SLSs, L-arginine, and I actually had to stop reading them at one point because it was so horrific what they did to the animal. It was pretty bad. So what's going in our beauty products, which is horrifying, to be honest.
I do think people should start boycotting any animal testing whatsoever.
Yeah, but the gas thing is, a lot of people don't realise it's tested on animals. Yeah, they wouldn't have a clue.
Again, the EU just basically passed that any animal testing in the EU is now banned. So it's literally only just passed there 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it was only recently that was in the paper that they actually banned animal testing completely.
In the EU?
In the EU, yeah.
Well, I mean, you know as well as I do, but people will get around that. They'll just source their product from China or somewhere else, their base product, and then they'll throw all the other bits and pieces on top of that, and then they'll say no animal testing on their products. And they'll be right. It won't be in their products. But I mean, how far back along the line of traceability do they go?
Well, I think they have to start somewhere, and I think the EU is a good place to start, and then just go further afield with that. I definitely think when you said that you were kind of allergic to a lot of products that are out in the market, I mean, you're probably one of a lot of people, Mariel, who are affected by products out there, because we know we're being slowly poisoned by the food anyway. With all the chemicals in it, so it only makes sense that the products that we use to for personal hygiene, whether it's toothpaste, whether it's shower gel or deodorant or any of them products, this is my concern with using these products, is that chemicals react to other chemicals, and if certain chemicals haven't been tested with other chemicals, like it's a science class 101. 2 chemicals together reacting. And if you're using a deodorant and then you use, say, aftershave or something after that, you don't know whether that chemical is going to affect it, have an effect with the other chemical from the deodorant that you've just sprayed on.
Right. I have a question for you now.
Yeah?
No, this is for Alan. He's using a deodorant and then he's using an aftershave. Where are you shaving? I mean, you shave when you're armpits.
No. You use the deodorant on you, like the Lynx effect.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean, and it scared the living daylights out of me. This is just kind of my own opinion. It scared the living daylights out of me when I actually sat down one day and I read the ingredients on a bottle of, I think it was one of these gift sets I got for Christmas. It was Lynx or it was one of these other brands, and I read the ingredients on the deodorant, and then I just done a little bit of research, just a little light reading, as they say, and when you see what all these chemicals are, what effects they can have on the body if they're absorbed into the skin or into the your glands or whatever, and then you say, wow, I'm spraying that under my arm, and that's kind of sitting there, and then if need be, I might just top it up, and then even the likes of hairsprays. When you see what women are putting into their hair, and that's where your brain lives. Your brain lives right under your hair and in your skull, and some of these chemicals are frightening the life out of you.
The biggest problem absorbing through your skin is if you ingest some through your body, basically your liver and your kidneys, basically, they filter out a lot of toxins. Whereas with your skin, the products the things that they're actually putting in the products, like sodium lauryl sulfates, will be one of the biggest baddies that's out there. Actually 10 on the pH balance scale, and we're supposed to be 7 on our skin. It's far too acidic for the skin. So what it does is it actually denatures the skin proteins, breaking down basically the barrier on your skin. So, and this is basically used as a degreaser in the soaps and in the body washes, shampoos, everything like that. And it's been linked with breast cancer, it's been linked with heart problems, it's been linked with huge amount of things. But the problem is that, yes, it's in small doses, but if it's actually breaking your barrier, your protective barrier, and again, it's a bit like the fluoride thing with the water, how much are you putting on your skin every day?
Yeah.
And a lot of the tests that they've done, they're not long-term enough. They're not saying, well, use this every day for the next 10 years. It's a huge difference. And basically what happens with toxins when they build up in your body is they actually attach to fat cells. And if you actually don't detox your body on a regular basis, and if you eat a lot of sugar, a lot of fat, it actually, again, the toxins attach to these, and it's harder to get rid of the fat then. Again, probably linking to a lot of the obesity problems in America, because again, their legislations aren't as good as of the other countries in the EU. And then if you actually properly tox your body, you can actually flush out a lot of toxins. But again, a lot of people don't know about this. They don't know about the stuff that is actually going into their products, is actually in their system through their skin.
Yeah, that's the trouble with, I think in the ideal world, everybody would actually go and get detoxed and, have your massages and your cleansing of your skin. I mean, I'm sure everybody would love to be able to do that on a regular basis for health reasons. But again, everything costs money. And
well, now you see, now I agree with you, but I have to disagree on one point. And sorry, I just want to mention as well that this stuff Mariel spoke of, the SLS, the sodium lauryl sulfate, it's also found in your toothpaste. But the likes of the stuff that you're spraying on your arm, I mean, a lot of women use deodorant, and then a lot of women suffer from breast cancer. And when you actually look, where you're spraying it, and it's right next to the breast.
That's where they normally get them.
That's where they normally get the tumours, And I mean, to say it's not linked, for anyone to say it's not linked is a little bit naive. But there are things you can do, and a quick search on the internet of how to make your own homemade deodorant for less than a quarter of the price of a tin of Lynx or one of those other brands, with a little bit of our old favourite, the old sodium bicarb.
Yeah, but I'm not a doctor.
But you'll have a look, yeah.
But I'll have a look. But what I have heard about is that when you're actually spraying deodorants and stuff like that, you're actually blocking your glands.
Yeah.
And the whole idea is that when you sweat and everything else, it's supposed to naturally come out.
Yeah.
But if you're blocking the glands, you're stopping that from happening, which could have a bit of an effect. So I don't know, Mariel, how do you get around that? How do you, get somebody to give them an organic deodorant which doesn't block the pores, or doesn't have that kind of detrimental effect? Because obviously your pores are there for a reason, to actually let out the sweat and everything else.
Well, one thing, I mean, just as an observation, I was in California over the Christmas, and when I actually went for deodorant, they had no spray deodorant. They had 2, and there was an entire aisle of the roll-ons, basically. Now, if you can get a roll-on without the SLSs, the sodium lauryl sulfate salts that actually build up in pockets in the breast, and that's actually what triggered breast cancer, basically. The build up of the salts, basically, in the breast area, basically. And if you, again, there is a lot of recipes, and there's so much information on forums and things like that. You can literally Google any product make it yourself. And there's so much information out there that, you know, it's easy for anybody, to be honest. And it's so much cheaper to make your own stuff as well. You know?
Yeah, that's
like,
one of
I'm
the
spending
things.
€10 every 3 months on my shampoo now, whereas I used to spend €10 on, you know, shampoo once a month, you know? It's a big difference in price.
Well, just actually, can you just give us a rough outline of, let's say, a product, let's say for argument's sake, a homemade, or let's say one of the ones that you would make, a deodorant or any other product, and roughly how much that will cost to the end user and how long it would last? Because a lot of people have this misconception that if you go organic, you'll be spending twice the price, which is completely false, isn't it?
Well, to be honest, I do the organic shampoo, conditioner and body washes as well, and I actually use an apothecary in Ireland called Bomar Aromatherapy, and I've actually got their page open here actually. I get a litre bottle of organic body wash for €8.90.
1 litre?
And that's for a full litre of shampoo or body wash.
Well, that's not bad.
No, that's
not
not
bad.
bad.
It's not bad at all. And I can get a soap base, and literally you don't have to do anything with the soap bases. You don't want to. If you want to just give yourself the raw soap, basically, with no flavouring in it, basically what you do is the 25 kilogram block for £20 in England.
Okay, so...
Gee, that's for nothing.
You have a question there, Steve? For
Do I?
Mariel, yeah?
Here's a question from one of the listeners on the chat. Lucid, would detox of the skin work with dead sea salt?
That's actually one of the products I actually do. I do Epsom salts, basically. And what I do is actually I make a mix of soda, sea salt and Epsom salts, and it's about 70% Epsom salts. And the actual benefits of Epsom salt is brilliant, because what it is it's actually magnesium sulfate. And it actually through the skin better than it does through actually drinking it. Now, it is an old house trick, basically, to drink it for, you know, if you're clogged up or anything like that. It's absolutely brilliant for any sort of arthritis problems, any eczema problems, and putting it in the bath is absolutely brilliant. I really recommend it. And you can use anything from, it's completely safe to use anything from 1 teaspoon to a whole cupful of this stuff.
Okay.
Now, I buy it in bulk, but you can actually bought it beforehand in one of the health food stores, 3 kilogram tub for like €10. So it's so cheap, basically, to buy. And what it actually does is it actually goes into the nerve endings in actual muscles and actually relaxes them. So it's great for sports injuries, it's great for sciatica, anything like that, basically. And it's great for relaxing as well, and flushing toxins and heavy metals out of the body as well. So what's recommended, basically, salts is you have 1 Epsom salt bath a week, and that basically flushes anything out. And the bicarb is added to remove any residual radiation as well. And then the sea salt is added for additional iodine and other sort of beneficial parts to it as well.
So do you mix it all together?
Essential oils on top of that.
Oh, right, so you mix it all together and put it all in the bath at the same go? Same time?
Basically, yeah.
Right,
so
okay.
Basically, all the tubs are kind of pre-mixed with different flavours. So I've got like essential oil with rose, and rose is great for relaxation. It's great for skin disorders as well. Lavender for disinfectant and relaxant as well. Lavender smells in the bath as well. It's like for berry oil, which you can get in all chemists and things like that. It's great for arthritis as well, which I also use a lot of.
I just want to throw something in there, Mariel. You did say for the different, the likes of the rose, you said flavourings. Obviously, just for anyone who's thinking about drinking the stuff, I'm guessing it's just scent.
Oh, no, these are essential oils.
Yeah, you wouldn't be drinking them, so, would you?
No, to be honest, you can if you want to be honest. People do actually drink peppermint oil for a lot of stomach problems. Chamomile oil is antispasmodic, so it's great for, you can put a few drops of it in water and drink it as well. Technically, the bath salts, the whole bath salts, you can drink them if you want to, but I wouldn't recommend it. They don't taste great.
So you can have a bath and then when you're finished you can drink the water.
I wouldn't recommend it, to be honest. I did make chalk and mandarin baths salts there recently, and I was very, very tempted.
Yes.
It was basically like sitting in a bath, Terry's chocolate orange, so it was very tempting.
But imagine smelling like a Cadbury's chocolate orange.
Yeah.
That might
it's
work
just
for
really
some
good.
people.
Oh, well,
Guinness flavoured bath salt.
Right. Marianne, tell us about the line of products. Let's talk about the line of products that you do and your website as well.
Okay, well, my website, my company name is Bath Time Bliss. It's basically bath-time-bliss.com. I have an Etsy store on my Bath Time Bliss website where you can go in and you can buy anything on it. It's free delivery in Ireland, which is nice. So just sort of, for handiness sake. But I normally sell in the Mariel market every Saturday. And that's from 1 to 6 in the GA hall in Mariel. But basically, the sort of stuff I do, I try to make soaps a little bit more exciting. So I've got everything from harsh roses, mould. I've actually got gun soap, ice pop soap. I've got loaf soaps. They're basically artisan soaps, which are actually, I'm actually joining the craft council soon. And these are basically like little cakes. They look like cakes, but they're basically given as gifts. And I do hampers and things like that as well. But one of the other products I do is I actually do soy candles. Obviously, there's no paraffin in them, and a lot of the soy paraffin candles, they actually use lead wicks as well. Quite toxic, and they're quite carcinogenic when they're burning for quite a while in your house. So the soy candles are, because they're not that expensive as well. And I use basically essential oils, and some of them have fragrances in them, but I normally label them if they do.
Right, okay. So you have quite a lot of products there to actually...
Yeah.
And can people buy from your website?
Yeah, they can buy from the website, yeah. Some of the other products will be natural lip balm, and the lip balm's absolutely lovely. It's made out of mango butter, shea butter, cocoa butter, almond oil, and beeswax. And sometimes I use soy wax, like chocolate flavour, honey flavour, vanilla flavour, and they're all natural. Again, so you don't have to worry about anything in them.
Okay.
And at the moment, what I'm experimenting on is body butters.
Right, okay.
Body butter.
Body butter.
Body butters, yeah, basically.
Okay.
They're thicker moisturisers, and they're made out of cocoa butter, coconut oil, and shea butter oil, or any of the sort of the big sort of oil, solid oils or liquid oils, basically. And what it does is you melt them, wait for them to cool, and you whip them. So it's actually like a thick cream, basically. It's really, really good for you. A lot of people don't know this about your skin, is that you actually do absorb vitamins through your skin. And back in the olden days, before products, people wear pure butter or pure milk on their skin because it was good for your skin. And vitamin D and again, being in Ireland, we don't get that much vitamin D or E, obviously from lack of sun. So it's much better to have a natural, pure product like body butter to put on your skin. Because, again, you do need to absorb more nutrients through your skin as well as through your food.
Okay, and these products, myself and Steve are, at a certain age.
Speak for yourself.
And I personally can't see myself putting body butter on me, but and unless, of course, I have a talk with a partner and, convince her it's a good idea. But so who would you be? Who are buying these products? What age group?
To be honest, there is actually a lot of guys who are actually buying the bath salts for sports injuries. And I actually thought at the start that the guys aren't going to use the lavender, but the lavender salts are very good with the guys, surprisingly enough. And I started doing the gun soap specifically for friends who were big into their airsoft and paintballing and things like that. They absolutely love gun soap. I've also got beer soap, old speckled hen. It actually smells like beer as well. That's been very, very popular for the men as well. So there is a few products there that the guys will like.
I was just wondering if you could get a mould and have a like, kind of OYM soap.
An OYM soap?
An OYM
yeah, it smells sweat.
We use the silicone mould, so if you guys can make the silicone mould, I will make you soap.
There you go. We have to make the mould. You have to sort the mould out. So you have...
How about some anonymous soap?
I've had a lot of pregnant mothers coming to me because parabens, actually, one of the preservatives that's in a lot of the products actually mimics estrogen in the body and has been scientifically proved to cause, obviously, breast cancer again, but actually mess with the estrogen in the body, mess with fertility in men and women, and actually mess with the fertility of the child in the womb. Because the actual skin is one of the first absorbents to go straight into the womb. So a lot of pregnant women are very worried about that. And there's a huge amount of women that I know personally who actually have reproductive problems. And I don't know what it's to do with the numbers rising because of what's in the products. Because, they're putting estrogen in the chickens. There's estrogen on the inside lining of the plastic milk cartons as well now. So you have to be very, very careful when you're pregnant. I recommend especially to put women who are pregnant or who have young children, like the Danes. They wrote to the EU saying they wanted to ban parabens for up to 3-year-olds because it was actually showing actual changes in basically the size of the genitals of the children, basically because of the use of parabens in the products.
Wow. Okay.
Bigger or smaller?
Bigger in some cases and deformed in cases. I've actually got the rat tests right in front of me, and some of them are very, very disturbing, where, basically the irritant was so much that, they had to put down some of the rats and things like that, and disturbing of the tests. Again, they're using different dosages, but having to read through some of them was seriously sickening. Yeah,
I can imagine. If it's anything like the lab tests that we've heard from certain other chemicals that other companies have brought onto the market, and they hid the results, so they can get the product onto the market. And I'd say in a lot of cases that goes on quite a bit. I do see on Steve was over there. He was looking at your website there, and I do think that I can foresee you doing some video tutorials and putting them on your website to actually educate people about the products, because I think it is important, especially people that are suffering from, eczema and stuff like that. I mean, tell us your good results that you've got from, giving products to people who are suffering from ailments.
Well, first of all, the candles, people with asthma. Like, my brother has asthma, and he was telling me that his fiance is big into the Yankee candles, and just basically end candles burning in the sit line the whole evening. He's coughing, he's wheezing, he's having a lot of trouble. I gave him one of the soy candles, and he said he had no problem. He didn't get any headaches, and basically, it was so much nicer. And they didn't, have to go over and blow it out after all. They were said that it was much nicer. I again had a lot of changes with my skin, basically, and my favourite soap, to be honest, is the bergamot and peach soap, because it smells lovely, but there's just enough oil in it to moisturise, but not enough to sort of be greasy, if you know what I mean. I think a lot of the products out there, they're trying too much to dry your skin, and a lot of people are thinking, but then your skin's not clean if there's still oil in it. But the problem is if you strip all the natural oils, you're affecting the pH balance of your skin. And for eczema, that's just making the situation. So a lot of, even the organic products, you have to be careful. Like if they use a lot of citric acid or anything like that, you have to make sure that you don't use too much if you have eczema, basically.
Right.
But,
so how do you
the other products as well.
So how do you sell it to people like myself and Steve? I mean, we are guys, that probably have showers rather than baths, and obviously with the incoming water meters, having a bath. Well, they always say shower is more hygienic, and you use less water in the shower than you do in the bath. So, and don't get me wrong, I think having a bath is a great thing, but it's always down to people saying, I don't have time to do that. It's just a quick in and out. I don't have time to do it. And I think we should all have or make the time to have more baths, because years ago when I was a child, as a kid, you always had a bath.
In a tin bath in front of the fire.
Tin bath, back
in them days, yeah.
Tin bath, I couldn't afford a tin bath. It was in the sink.
There's a lot of people who come to me who say they can't have a bath as well. A lot of elderly customers. I do recommend a foot bath. Just filling a basin full of water and putting some in it, because there's a lot of the ways to detox your body is actually through your hands and your feet, and that's what you through massage basically. So actually detoxifying your feet would actually go through most of your body, to be honest.
And I think that would be a good idea. And what's happening a lot these days as well, and you probably have come across it, Mariel, there's a lot of people suffering from foot fungus.
Yeah, definitely. And a lot of the actual products that they use to get rid of them, actually, you have to be very careful going to your doctor about it, because it can actually affect your liver as well, which is terrifying. The best way to get rid of a fungal foot, basically, mix tea tree oil, lavender oil, basically, in some hot water, and mix some Epsom salt in it, and do that every day. Mix some aloe vera. And aloe vera is actually naturally antifungal and antiviral, and it's very potent. You can get the proper aloe vera that it is. And to be honest, or any bee products as well. Bee propolis has actually been proven to kill off the MRSA virus, but what it does is it doesn't kill off the white blood cells. Whereas a lot of the sort of pills and creams out there, they do actually kill the good stuff as well as the bad stuff. But there is a lot of natural alternatives to sort of funguses and rashes and things like that as well.
Exactly, and this could be down to the environment and the actual products that we're eating and the products that we're using. The other thing I would say also is bicarbonate of soda. I did recommend to a friend of my partner's who was beginning to get a foot fungus for whatever reason, and I said to her, tell her to use bicarbonate of soda. And she did that for 2 weeks, and she said it was a major clearance, a major, big difference in doing it, because unfortunately with foot funguses, the blood flow is very hard to get into where the fungus is, because, it's all down to when the doctor gives you tablets, it has to go in the bloodstream, and it takes a while for it to work. So I wouldn't even go to the doctor for that. I just get a natural cure like bicarbonate of soda, or what you're suggesting with the Epsom salts and the tea tree oil, because at the end of the day, any kind of fungus or virus is going to be acid based, and you need to attack it with alkaline. Now, I'm just kind of changing subject a little bit, but Steve, will you talk about your wife and the toothache?
Yes, I will do that. Yeah, wow, you're really kind of going on to the next page, aren't you? This is kind of going back to
we're sidetracking
MMS.
We're just sidetracking a little bit, but the principle is still the same. It's about natural products and using something that's alkaline rather than acid.
Yeah, my lady wife, she had a tooth. She had some work done on her tooth, and it was quite sore, giving her a lot of pain. And I did remember seeing somewhere about the benefits of MMS also for toothache, dental pain. Said it would attack the bacteria that was obviously attacking the nerve of the tooth. So I ran it past her. She was in such pain. She would have taken a gun to the head at that stage. She was in agony. So I made up a small batch of MMS, 8 drops in the water.
Is it SM?
Huh?
MMS.
MSM. No, MMS.
Oh, right.
And now you're going to say, what's it stand for? It stands for Miracle
Mineral Solution.
Miracle Mineral Solution. Yeah.
If you haven't heard of it, I'll talk to you about it when I talk to you next. But because I'm just looking at the time, so go ahead.
Yeah, but I made up some MMS, and she reluctant. Well, she wasn't reluctant at all. She tried it on her tooth, but she didn't expect anything to work because painkillers weren't even working. But within a couple of hours of putting the MMS, holding it on the tooth, and then gargling and spitting it out. She'd done that a few times over a couple of days, and she said that it was unbelievable. Every time she did it, it just took the pain away. It was absolutely fantastic. And she swears by it now. Yeah,
we're sidetracking a little bit, but I just wanted to let the listeners know about that if you have a toothache and you get your hands on MMS, just give it a try. I don't think, Mariel, you have anything for toothaches, but I think you probably have products for other elements of the body.
I don't have anything for... I actually haven't started making toothpaste at the moment. Again, I'm kind of doing all the research and stuff like that for the body butters, but it is something I want to get to because there's actually a raw food guy, David... I can't remember his name, over in the US, and he actually does a lot of natural stuff, and he does, how to make your own toothpaste and things like that, and basically using bicarb soda, but also using oils as well, because funnily enough, a lot of the actual can actually be removed with oils from your teeth. So actually gargling with stuff like olive oil once a month is actually great to remove plaque and any yellowness on your teeth. So doing that in addition to having your, bicarb soda or whatever your natural alternative is actually a very good idea.
What oil? What oil is that, did you say?
Just olive oil. Olive oil. And basically gargle with it, swish it around your mouth for about 10 minutes, and then just spit it out.
And that's good for getting rid of the plaque and taking the yellowness off your teeth.
Basically, yeah. It's because there is a certain amount of dirt on your teeth that doesn't come off with the alkali, obviously, you need. And it's something to do with an oil base, something like that. That, you need an oil base to remove some of the dirt, basically.
Okay, that's interesting to know. I think it'd be very good if you went down the toothpaste route because there's, I have tried the alternative toothpaste out there, and although they don't contain fluoride, which is brilliant, they don't taste nice at all. You definitely need to have that, minty breath, fresh taste in your mouth, and they don't seem to have that. And that's what's lacking in them, and I think if they were to address that, they'd get a lot more sales. But they're just very bland, Well,
there's two reasons why people don't go organic and why they decide not to get the natural products, or, that's why, they're not as popular as they should be. And the first reason is obviously because people really do believe that we need to literally strip everything off to cleanse ourselves, which is not true at all. So, you don't need all these degreasers that, remove carbolic acid or anything like that. You don't need the sort of stuff in your soap to clean your skin. And the other thing is shelf life, is that people don't believe, they think that their soap will go off if there's only natural stuff in it. And again, they think that the stuff with parabens and SLSs and thiazolinine, those sort of things, they think that, but this keeps it fresh and it keeps it antibacterial. But there's a huge amount of natural stuff that you can use, like use certain oils. Your soap can last up to 2 years. If you use, for instance, rosemary oil, rosemary extract oil is actually used in most of sort of organic soaps, and that actually elongates the life for about 6 months to a year.
Wow, okay. So, people being scared about the lifespan of the products, they shouldn't be too concerned. But I think by law, anyway, you have to put on a sell-by date. Isn't it by law you have to do that?
Not necessarily. I haven't seen any products with sell-by date on, to be honest, especially when it comes to soap.
Right, okay.
Again, a lot of the other products have parabens and SLSs, so they're mass-produced, basically. They're trying to have shelf lives for, 10 to 20 years, whereas organic soap, it is a shorter shelf life, basically, but it's small production, so you're not too worried about them.
Well, if they use them on a regular basis, then they will be used. But, you will get some people that will buy it, and then it'll be sitting there for ages. So it's always nice to have a kind of a date, a kind of gauge for some people.
Yeah.
Just in case, because you don't want any comeback from people saying, I used this organic soap and I had major issues with it. When did you buy it? Oh, probably about 5 years ago. So
well, basically, again, the two different types of soap, cold process soap is actually better off if you don't wrap it up and you actually let the air to it. And then the melt and pour soap, if you actually have to wrap them within 24 hours of making them to keep the smell in, basically, to keep the flavour, basically. So they will act up in the cellophane securely, so as long as you don't open it. Now, if you did open it out, it will eventually go off, basically. But again, a lot of the organic soap bases, they are 97 to 95% organic, because they have to put a foaming And again, the foaming agents they use aren't as bad as a lot of the other ones that are out on the market. So they're literally approved by the Organic Association, the really mild chemical ones particularly.
Okay, so just rounding up, Mariel, thanks for coming on the show, and I think it's great what you're doing, getting the actual products out there, and of course you said that you suffer from a number of ailments by using the main day-to-day products that are out there, and so it's a great incentive for you to go and design the products and obviously pass them on to people that are suffering with the same symptoms. Well, that's brilliant. Thanks for coming on. That's much appreciated. I'm going to pass you over to Steve and let Steve do a roundup there.
Okay. Well, the roundup, Mariel, is generally just you give out your web address and if you have a YouTube channel or any other form of communication where people can find out more about your business, your Bath Time Bliss, and how to maybe get some of your products.
That's great. I'll put up on the forum for you guys.
Okay, well,
you could just tell us.
You could just tell us, because this radio show goes out and people do download the podcast, because not everybody's, tuned into the chat facility. So you tell us.
Okay, no problem. Well, basically, you can search me on Facebook, Bath Time Bliss. There is actually another Bath Time Bliss in California, but it's the one in Dublin in Ireland, and it's got a pink flower on it. That's how you'll tell the difference. And then the website is bath-time-bliss.com. And there is an actual page listing off all the sort of the natural health benefits to any of the products, salts, every single essential oil I use is on the site as well, and then a little bit about parabens and sodium lauryl sulfate as well. I also have a blog, which I'm discussing generally how to make your own body butter and making different candles, things like that. So if you do want to kind of keep up to date with that, or begin crafting as well, which is actually a really big thing in Ireland at the moment, crafting soap basically, and making different kind of shapes of soap as well. And I'm on Facebook, Twitter, and on Etsy as well. Etsy is actually a handmade site as well for anything that's handmade, and if anybody's into any sort of 1940s stuff or anything like that, they do a lot of that sort of stuff as well. And basically, my store is on my website, and you can buy off there, or you can email me or call me. All the contact details are on the website.
Brilliant. Well, that's excellent. Okay, Mariel, thanks for coming on. Steve is looking at the gun soap here at the moment. It's very good. But thanks for coming on the show. And we're just going to go off to a musical break. Just stay with us there for a minute, Mariel, and we'll be back after this.
And we're back. That was a little bit of Gordon Haskell. It's a kind of a change to the normal run-of-the-mill kind of, dancey kind of music that we play here for the musical break. But that was Gordon Haskell. I think Alan knows a little bit more about the band. Gordon was sent into us during the week.
Yeah, I was talking to Gordon during the week. Gordon used to play with a band called King Crimson.
King Crimson.
For people who know their rock music. And if you go to YouTube and type Gordon Haskell, you'll actually see that he was on Top of the Pops in 2001. And I was talking to Gordon during the week just about his experience in the music business and how they really mucked him about, and the people in the music business that had severe control over what happened to him, and they basically ruined his music career to a certain extent. And that was one of the songs he sent over, which I thought was very nice, really, really nice song. Now, you'll have to excuse me, as you know, I'm dying with a cold here, and I'm suffering, but I'll soldier on.
You will.
Good OYM form. Now, a guest that we have on now is a lady called Melanie Ve, and she is a broadcaster on Freedom Central Radio. And maybe a bit controversial, because Melanie has obviously has an opinion on certain people that's involved in the truth movement. I think it would be fair enough to say that. But we'll get Melanie on, and we'll have a talk to Melanie and get her opinion on what she thinks. Good evening, Mel. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm great, thanks. How are you guys doing?
Not too bad. Good. Not too bad. Melanie, the reason why we asked you onto the show was because I know you have various opinions on certain people in the truth movement. And, we all have various opinions, and we're allowed to have opinions. And I'm just curious, as is Steve, just to get your take on the people who you feel are not what you, they might not be what they seem. I don't know. Tell us what your thoughts are and what you do in Freedom. First of all, let's talk about Freedom Central Radio. Let's talk about that first, and then we'll get into the the people in the truth movement?
Okay. Well, firstly, Freedom Central is not actually a radio station. I broadcast on Finding Voices Radio, which is just an internet radio station, much like Open Your Mind, but based in the Netherlands. I think I'm the only English-speaking program. I'm from South African, and I've sort of been living outside South Africa now for 13 years, and I got into mainstream media. I worked as a model. I worked as a producer, producing stuff. And I learned a few things about media and how it works, the ins and outs. And this knowledge, because it served me well in working things out later on. Okay. Now, Freedom Central is an alternative media platform or fringe information platform, which, I mean, it's got like over 4 years worth of interviews with everyone from David Icke to Bill Ryan to, I've interviewed them. I've gone all over the world doing it. And I do a show, and I've got documentaries as well. I make documentaries, and my latest documentary is almost out, but that's the sort of thing we do. And then I just do it once a week on Finding Voices Radio. But as I said, Freedom Central is more of a multimedia information platform, and with that there comes a huge amount of research. And I love learning, I love researching. I'm a reader. I read like crazy. And having met and worked with a lot of people all over the world, when I say not only interview, but also, organize events, various things that, you work with them at conferences, etc. And you get to learn who's who and what's really going on in the background. As an audience member who maybe listens to a YouTube clip of one of these conferences or speaking events, you listen to these people and it's the words and everything are all lovely coming out, but what you always have to ask yourself is what is really behind these people? And I think that's a critical question when you want to take on board anybody's. I think far too many people are just too easy to go, oh, yeah, he sounds good, freedom, peace, and love and life and all that, yeah, him. Or, yeah, no, he knows about the economy, just listen to him. Listen to everybody, make up your mind. But the simple fact is, and it's not even a theory, it's been proven as fact, that there is something as controlled opposition. And this is very much proven true when I met Dr. Judy Wood, the Breakthrough Energy Movement Conference in November last year. Conference, and I worked with Dr. Judy Wood, and she's exposed a lot of the anomalies of 9/11, and of course she's exposed the 9/11 truth movement as being co-opted because they won't even listen to her information. And to be honest with you, her information is probably the stuff that makes the most sense to me. So there is just from the 9/11 point of view, there's definitely a controlled opposition element, but that they've controlled everything up to now. You'd be foolish if you didn't try to think they'd try to control the truth movement too. And there's definitely what I call agents of the dark agenda who are working within the truth movement, and there's enough evidence to back this up.
Right, okay. And who would you, in your opinion, who are these dark agents, or who do you think are involved in this movement?
Well, okay, let's start Alex Jones, right? Most obvious, of course. Alex Jones' father is, father-in-law is a Knight of Malta. Alex Jones' sister goes to a Catholic university. Alex Jones is recently stating how he had very close spiritual connections to the place. He gave a lecture there. I've seen the video. Not only that, Alex Jones' InfoWars network is owned by another company, Gemini Communications, which is in turn owned by ABC Disney, which is in turn owned by the CIA, which are in turn controlled by the Vatican and the Alliance. So it all goes back to the same point. Ultimately, all roads lead to Rome. I'm not sure if you're aware of the control agenda, but, all roads lead to Rome. And you can trace Alex Jones' path quite clearly. So there we go, Alex Jones aside. The evidence is there. Let's take the next big one. I think in the UK, Mr. Ian Crane.
Yeah, we know him, yeah.
Now, look, there's so much to be said here, and a lot of it, to be honest with you, is just personal experience. Let me just say that there's a different way I believe that if we're trying to create a better world, that you treat people, and it's a small thing, I'm an old-fashioned kind of girl. It's got to do with manners. And I just believe that these people are very egotistical and into themselves. The lack of manners comes through, and it certainly does with Mr. Crane. Not to mention the fact for him it's a business. All he ever wants to do is make money, and I wrote a long article about it. It's on our website if anyone wants to go check it out. And, if you go onto his web shop, the website he has, it's just a website with a web shop attached, like an information platform with a web shop where you then go buy DVDs, just a web shop. Now, why that's significant is my husband owns a little web building company, and he's got website scanning software, and he said, it's not even a place you can go get information, you can only shop there. And the app which you can download for Ian Crane's web shop, okay, guess what? It comes up as a little square with a trolley in the middle. So, this guy, you have to ask yourself, what are we doing here in this so-called truth movement? Are we doing it because we're trying to get the truth out and make the world a better place? Or are we trying to profit off those people who are trying to deconfuse themselves from this level of reality? Because to be honest with me, that sits very well with me. And, I don't have a donate button on my website, and I survive. And I don't want anyone's money. I believe information is a common heritage of all people. And these people who are making a lot of money off other people, very, very typically capitalizing off people who are willing to just throw money into this, so desperate to learn. Ian Crane's one of them. I've put an article up which I suggest you guys go read, and it explains absolutely everything to do with a deal he tried to do with me with Edge Media TV. He tried to con me out of 50,000 euros. I've pasted article, all the correspondence that went between us. Yeah, and at that stage, I was on someone's floor, living on a mattress. And he wants 50,000 euros out of me. Yeah. Guess why? To play my documentary, which I'd made. Okay, a documentary which had won 2 awards at the local Amsterdam Fringe Film Festival. I was offering it to him to use on Edge Media TV for free. So he then says I have to pay 50,000 euros for him to play it once a week for a year. Right. So, yes, so there's a lot of things that, you're going, what's this really all about? But look, there's more information which has come to me, and that is, since I've evolved into what we've evolved into as Freedom Central, we've been approached by people who basically said to come join the dark side, and you'll have a career, and we'll look after you. And I was given what we call the choice. Yeah? Yeah. The choice is given to a number of people in the so-called truth when he get big enough to be a threat. In the choice, because the very people who offered me the choice, all right, offered it to Ian Crane because they told me so. That I also had an email confirmation from somebody else who I didn't even know. I'd never mentioned this conversation. They were talking to me about how someone had told them that Ian Crane was given this same choice. So Ian Crane has blabbed his mouth off to someone about it, and it's somehow gotten around and back to me in some information after I posted this little expose about Edge Media TV and how to try to con me out of 50,000 euros. So yeah, he has made the choice to work for the dark side and have a career, and that means within the choice he cannot go near Rome. That is the condition of the choice. You cannot go anywhere near the Jesuits, and he doesn't. Okay. Yeah. Okay, and well, see, I know people turn around when we have a shop on OYM. We have people who come on the show and they donate products to us to help us raise funds to run OYM because, it costs money to run a radio show and to do what we do. Now, we don't get anything out of it at all. I mean, God, we definitely don't get anything out of it at all. But everything that we do has all got to do with funding to actually help educate people. So does that mean, we've sold out? I'm not pointing fingers at you. Okay? Have you an invoice of 50,000 euros charging me to play my own work? Well, that's down to, in obviously with you, but, I understand from my background that people will be people and they are who they are, and I do believe that, if any other kind of area, whether it's the alternative medicine or whether even it's in the music business, if you go to see a rock star or One Direction or Justin Bieber in concert, you'll pay a fortune to get a ticket to go and see him singing. So if people, I'm not just saying in Crane, but if people are prepared to go along to spend the money to see this person talking, surely that's allowed. I'm not saying it's not allowed. What I'm saying is Ian Crane, unfortunately, isn't selling good information. He's part of the dark today. He's sold out, and all he's there to do is capitalize on people. He doesn't give a shit about people and them up at all. He's a businessman, plain and simple.
Okay.
That's it. It's not about waking people up and doing the right thing. If you need the money, you know what? I'm very blessed that my husband has his own business and that I can spend all my time at dedicated to Freedom Central. I don't have to work and I don't have to ask for money. I know that I'm blessed that way. We provide a facility where speakers can come speak. No one has to pay a cent. Everyone that comes to the front door, the only money that gets donated is to the person who's actually speaking. We provide that facility. We fund it through our business. So, yes, we do a lot in terms of investing back into the people. With our own money, we don't ask a penny in return. So we know it's perfectly capable. If people are genuinely dedicated to the betterment of humanity, we don't need to be feeding off the same system that's actually enslaving us to do it or relying on that to do it. Yes, it costs money to put petrol in the car. Yes, it costs money to feed us. But we need to start thinking outside the box. And I'm not at Freedom Central. We also had a donate button on. And we actually we had a real issue with it. I mean, right from the beginning, I had an issue with it. I had it there for 3 years. And then when we got to a point where we actually had enough money not to have it there, not that it ever got much. I mean, in the 3 years that I had it up, I think I was donated a total of maybe 700 euros. Okay? So, that's even enough to get you through a couple of months in Europe. It's very expensive. So,
I think
it's not like everyone's relying for income.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're fortunate to be in that position, and I think if we were in the same position, myself and Steve, that would be the case.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we are not. We're not. I mean, Ireland is going through such austerity at the moment, and myself and Steve are, the same as everybody else out there. We're robbing Peter to pay Paul, and Peter's getting really annoyed at this stage at the moment. All right, Steve.
Peter is getting annoyed, yeah.
Because we are. I mean, we're all suffering from austerity. We all got. We all have our new property charge coming through the post now. It was going to be charging us 200, 300, 400 euros, and everybody's saying, "Where's the money going to come from?" Because we don't have it. So anything that comes in through OYM from a donation point of view, I mean, obviously gets put back in. And if you look at the level of cost running the radio show compared to the donations we get in, is actually, it's higher running it. But we don't, we're not going to complain about it because we're happy that people can afford what they can afford, even if it's only 2 or 3 euro. And we have had guests on who donate, there might be a book or CD or whatever, and they may say, look, if you raise any funds with that, it helps promote the show, and we appreciate that as well.
But sorry, I mean, just to be clear, I mean, I don't know how much Mel would know about us, but I mean, if no one donated anything, we'd still do this.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
We're doing this for the love of just getting the information to people and helping, doing what we can to kind of help. I mean,
that's what started off. Yeah,
that's how it started off.
Yeah,
I mean,
I was not critical you guys. You had never come up on my radar.
I know.
You must understand. I have a very specific purpose in this movement, and it's to root out those people who don't have the absolute highest intent. Okay.
Yeah.
I've come in here with the absolute highest intent. Oh, I'm so spiritually, I'm not like a hoo-ha, put me on a pedestal. You know what? I don't want you to have high hopes for me. I'm not the next Messiah. No, I don't have all the answers. I'm saying to people honestly, though, that I definitely just really want a world where I can do what the hell I want and no one give me a hard time. Yeah? I don't want to be, I don't like being told what to do. I don't like having to spend every penny I earn to survive. And for that, I'm doing this. And I do that from the very base, purest intent. And I don't need money from anyone. I don't need the fame. I don't need speaking tours. I don't even like public, standing up in front of people and talking in public. I'm very comfortable behind my radio show and making my documentaries and communicating and reaching people that way. And yes, I'm very grateful that I'm able to do it from a good place. And that is, I think, one of the reasons why our work and our popularity and the stuff that we've done has gone so far. It's because people know we don't do it for money at all. And I'm not saying that it's a bad thing if anybody does. What I'm saying is that people who make money off the truth movement with just money and don't actually go anywhere near the truth but actually deliberately add to the confusion and the deception, pull them out. Ian Crane is one of those people.
Well, just one of the things that Ian said, now, this is, I remember Ian doing an interview, and he said, he's obviously an ex-oil field executive, and he said that he's currently unemployable. So, he won't get a job because of obviously what he's doing and everything else. So he has decided.
He lives in a 5-bedroom house with a swimming pool in England. Okay.
Right. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Well, maybe he had that before he actually started this journey. Maybe
He's still living there. Have you looked at the address he's lived for the last few years are the same? I know because he's had a publishing which is run through this address that he lives at. We've looked up the properties, a 5-bedroom house with a swimming pool in England. I know how much it costs to have a house with a pool in England.
Well, prices have come down, but I'm just going to be a devil's advocate here. But Ian him being an oil executive, he could have easily had that house bought before he went down the alternative media route and into the truth movement. And obviously, he's seen it as a job. That's his job. That's his bread and butter. So if he is making these DVDs and he's selling them, it's purely to actually make, so he can have a living, so he can do it full time. Surely that's what a lot of people in the truth movement do. Now, I do agree with you that there are people in the truth movement, and I do agree.
Making a living.
Well, I do agree.
Information is crap.
Well, I do agree.
Information is bad. It's pollution, action, and diversion. Plain and simple. Okay? There's a million ways to prove this. And do me a favor, read one of my books if you don't believe me. I'm a researcher. I publish books. I give all my books on my website. I know for free. I don't even sell them in print anymore because it costs. I don't want people to pay for it. Well, so, I've looked into everything that he's saying, and to be honest with you, he's walking us in the opposite direction to what we should be looking at.
Okay, well, listen, one thing I do know about the whole kind of Jesuit Jew thing is that you can't, if you go out, start ranting and raving about the Jewish thing. We had Tex Mars on, and he had a book about the conspiracy of the 5-pointed star, and he said that it's a Jewish conspiracy. One of the things he says in the book is that the 10 people around Barack Obama and his wife were all Jewish. Why are the leaders of banks all Jewish? So he really points a finger. Now, this has not been anti-Semitic. He's just pointing out the facts that that's what it is. So maybe that's why Ike, maybe that's why Ian Crane, maybe that's why a lot of people in the truth movement don't go down that road, because one, they be classed as anti-Semitic.
That's absolutely not true. You know what? That's absolutely not true. I mean, I don't mean to insult you guys, but you obviously don't know how the power structure is structured and just who the Jesuits are. I mean, I knew it was a Jesuit. And for goodness sakes, anyone pointing finger at the Jews again, as the problem makers, are again distracting. Never forget, the Zionists are papal court Jews. They answer to the Black Pope. So pointing fingers at the Jews are just agents of the Vatican again.
Yeah, no, hang on. I wasn't finished. Well, I finished speaking, and then, we'll get to that, right? Now, the whole thing about the Jewish thing, we know about the Zionists, and we know the fact, and even the real Jews have come out and protested and said, we are not them, we are not Zionists. Yeah. So at the end of the day, this is not about the Jewish people. There might be a cabal who are, Jewish, a number of Jewish people who are involved in this cabal, but this is an international thing. This is not about the Jewish people. This is an international thing. And you're talking about the Zionists, and then we go back to the protocols of Zion and everything else. So that's what I was going to be referring to, but there's a lot of people won't go down there, because if you go down that route, apparently, that's when you get a knock on the door and you're told to shut up.
Protocol. Let's go. Protocol are a fake. They were written by a Catholic Jesuit. Okay, and they were claimed to be Jewish in order to discredit the Jews. So the whole thing is, if you read the Extreme Oath of the Jesuits, they've been trying to hang on the Jews out for years. In Extreme Oath of the Jesuits, they're very obviously their attitude towards Jews. We've got, every time someone Jews bad, we are just playing into the hands of the deceit. So I agree. All these anti-Semitic, point. I want to eliminate the word Zionist from our vocabulary. Okay, because quite simply, it is a distraction. If you look up Zionist in Wikipedia, it says Jewish nationalism. Hell no, it's not. The word Zion comes from Sion, which is the word for sun. It's the Latin word for sun. The Priory of Sion was a Catholic order, and if any the Da Vinci Code, you will have heard of the Priory of Sion, which Da Vinci was apparently a member of, and it's a Catholic order. The Zionists answer to a Catholic order. So again, let's not talk about the Jews. I don't even want to talk about the Jews and the Zionists, because all they do is add to the confusion. Okay? Anyone that talks about them is just, again, doing what Ian Crane does, and that is pointing us in the wrong direction.
Okay, well, we have a question here that's come in, and the person said that, can you ask Mel to tell us something that no other truther has brought to the table, something new?
What a great question. No one's ever asked me that.
There you go. Only in Ireland.
Yeah.
Well done, Mick.
Secret I've been holding on to. Do you know what? I am pretty outspoken, and I'm sorry I keep interrupting you guys. I'm just very passionate about this. I get annoyed when people stand up for Ian Crane because he's not a good person. I know that people asked to. I know they've told themselves that to get me to come work for them, work for the dark side. They've told me themselves that Ian Crane, he works for them. So I know this for a fact. I know this in my soul. So I get a little annoyed when people, particularly people with a platform like yourselves, are, pretending excuses when you don't yourself know the facts, like saying, doesn't want to get into it for this and this reason, doesn't want to offend people. No, bullshit.
Well,
bullshit.
hang on, Mel. Let's stop there for a minute. Hang on. What we do, right, is we get guests on, like you, and like Ian, and like everybody else, and we let our listeners decide based on what they say, right? Our opinions are our own opinions, but not the opinions, because obviously that being in the alternative media means that we let people decide. We're not going to give people our opinion. We're going to let them have their own opinion based on what's being said. So what I think of Ian and what Steve thinks of Ian could be something completely different. But it doesn't matter what we think. It's what our listeners think. And by getting people on like Ian or yourself or whatever, they'll listen to the show and they'll make their own choice. That's how it works.
Well, I've got something for you that no other producer will tell you, because it's coming out of my documentary, if you do want to answer that question. I've got a documentary coming out, which is a documentary based around South Africa called The Loss of the Boers. And basically, it's exposed the whole apartheid movement as being a complete psychological, public perception, mind-controlled con. And I know it's very controversial because people, blacks were suppressed, and they were. There has been an imbalance of power throughout history. The race card is an artificial mechanism of division, and it was most skillfully used in South Africa. Now, in the 1960s, when we were actually giving black people of South Africa their own independent homeland, the people in Australia doing national census in 1960 didn't even classify the Aboriginals as human or animal. They classified them as fauna and flora. So with apartheid, there was still some sort of recognition of a race group, if apartheid was supposedly real. Now, what I'm going to tell you, okay, it's quite controversial, and there's a lot of history to understand to get your head around. But Nelson Mandela was never a freedom fighter, okay? He didn't spend 27 years in jail fighting for the freedom of his people. He's a Knight of Malta. He was a Vatican-trained puppet. He was initiated at university through Fort Hare University. Desmond Tutu, Govan Mbeki, all these other people who work for the Vatican were also initiated. Fort Hare University is a black offshoot of Rhodes University. Cecil John Rhodes' will left the money behind to set up all the roundtable organizations that you see at the moment. Berg Group, Trilateral Commission, Council for... Lots of the money came from Cecil John Rhodes' will. So that's how important it is that this is a black offshoot of Rhodes University, the Fort Hare University, which is where Nelson Mandela and all of them were initiated, okay? And I've spoken to a cardinal in Rome. Now, he told me, I've got lots of contacts in the Vatican, he told me that he had dinner with Nelson Mandela in Rome in 1982. But Nelson Mandela was only released from jail in 1990. So what was he doing in Rome in 1982? So there's, the whole history of humanity, even the history of South Africa, has been a complete con. It's been a complete lie. The reason the man has been made out to be a saint is because he serves the Vatican, and he's a Knight of St. John. He's got more knighthoods than any other. He's a Vatican servant, and I know it's going to shock a lot of people to know about this national icon of freedom actually sold out his own people. But the simple fact is that South Africa is worse off after the presidency of Mandela than it was before. And the Oppenheimers, who are the Illuminati bloodline branch managers of South Africa, they own more South Africa after the presidency of Nelson Mandela than they did before. Okay, so just a question for you there. I assume that you can actually back all this up with proof. Yeah, read my book. It's on my website. No. Well, no, a book's no good. I could write a book and put all that stuff in it. I'm talking about proof, because obviously that's what... Nelson Mandela wearing his knight's outfit isn't enough proof. The picture of Nelson Mandela in his knight's outfit. Well, to the Duke of Gloucester. The more proof we have, the better, because you know yourself. The police, if somebody is a witness
and they've no proof, then it's hearsay until we see the proof. And there's a lot of people out there that will say this happened, that happened, and we've been stung a few times, myself and Steve, you know, and we find out that what was said was actually not true. So
Are you saying there's not proof?
Well, no, I'm saying that.
I'm presenting a picture, you can find it.
Well,
you can find it there.
Well, what I'm saying is...
Here's a quick one. Go to Wikipedia, Google Nelson Mandela, get all the letters above his names. It'll show you all his knighthoods for a start. Yeah, you can go for each and every single one of them and see what knighthoods he has. So that's just on Wikipedia. Let's start there.
Well, can I just stop you there? I don't trust... Can I just stop you there, Mel? Sorry. Number one, I don't trust Wikipedia because you don't know who's editing it. Okay? So I don't actually go to Wikipedia to look at information because I don't trust it. Okay? So this is where, from my point of view...
A picture of Nelson Mandela in his night outfit, is that good for you?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know much about the night outfit. I mean, I don't know. Was that a ceremony of being a knighthood, or was it something else?
That really works and really controls the world and what's really going on. And you're trying to ask me for proof?
Well,
you don't yourself know what's going on. I presented the proof. Look, it's there. Everything is there, documented, pictures, evidence. And if you want us to put it apart after that, then do it. But don't come to me and say, oh, we haven't even looked at the proof that I have to present.
But when you talk about proof, it's your words written in the book. I'm just being devil's advocate again.
No, it's quotes from other people's books. It's research. It's not my work. Most of what I've done is research. It's lots of documented information from archives. I'm not just a laptop researcher. I've actually spent time in the Bibliotheca Philosophica Hermetica, which is the biggest collection of esoteric texts outside the Vatican. I'm a member there. I've spent hours going through sitting in those hermetically sealed rooms where you can't barely breathe, you know.
Yeah.
So I've done I've done the work. And if I'm not asking you to believe in me as a researcher, my work stands for itself, you know. Watch my work, watch my documentaries, read my book, and then say to me, Mel, you're lacking in proof here, I don't believe this. But until that point, to be honest with you, there's no point in saying, have you got proof? Because I present the proof. It's up to you to now look at it.
Right, okay, well that's fair enough. That's a fair enough argument. Who else do you think in the truth movement that you would kind of look at and go, bit of a question mark with them?
Sure. Well, I tell you what, because for me it gets argumentative. I don't want to give anything. I believe it's everybody's right to work things out for themselves. And what I would say is, there is a huge amount of controlled opposition. Don't think that this truth movement is just one, you know, everyone working for the benefit of humanity. There's a lot of people working against the flow of things. And again, I encourage people to work this out for themselves. I've made it very clear who I think these people could be, and presented much evidence on many shows that I've done. The simple fact is that, or they are or not, actually at the end of the day, doesn't really matter. From some of these people, I've learned amazing things. Yeah?
Yeah.
Whether or not they're is another thing. I've learned amazing things, and I don't deny that. Use an example. Anton LaVey's Satanic Bible. I've read it. Doesn't make me a Satanist, but I've read it, just like I've read Morals and Dogma. It doesn't make me a Freemason. You know, it's interesting. Although it is a very highly panned book because it's a book of Satan, there's a few interesting things in there. And it doesn't mean Anton LaVey is a good person or the Satanic Bible is a good book to read, but you learn a lot about how these people think. Okay?
Yeah.
As an example, just like I read Morals and Dogma, the most heavy reading I've ever done in my life. And yeah, it's definitely not something I'd read twice, but very interesting. You know, in terms of completing this book, it was absolutely essential to read this. Doesn't make me Freemason, doesn't mean the information is pure and comes from a right place necessarily, but it is what it is. And let me tell you, it's very educational. So, again, like I say, there are a lot of people who perhaps I have found through personal experience, through evidence, information has come to me, a question mark over them, and I think, But again, I don't want to make final judgment on anybody because, yes, some people could be working from an egotistical place, but you know what? There is plenty of room for everyone to evolve. You know, at some point, we're all going to have to end up in the same place. We are. It's the way it is.
Yeah.
So, you know, the longer you continue to work against humanity's natural evolutionary process, the more you hurt I mean, those people working for the darkness, the damage they're doing to their karma, the damage they're doing to their bodies, their mind, their heart, soul, and their etheric body are completely out of alignment because they're working in different directions.
Okay, well, I have a question for you there. I mean, I agree with you that there are changing agents out there, and even over here in Ireland, we have people who infiltrate the truth movement and try and break it up and destroy it. And I totally agree with you. It makes sense that they will try and control the truth movement as well. And that's why myself and Steve generally stay together on what we do here in OYM. Because there's only two of us. And if there was a third person in the room, I think we'd see them. So I completely agree with you on that side. Where do you see it going, Mel? With all the research that you've done, how do you see things playing out at the moment with the way the world is?
I see things playing out at the moment.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. There's a lot of things that are happening at the moment that I'm working with behind the scenes, and so things are looking up and they're looking very positive. What you are seeing on a 3D around you. Here in Holland, we have tolerant cannabis laws. You can go to a coffee shop and roll a joint and smoke it with a cup of coffee. All very civilized, very controlled. It's very nice. But near enough, every coffee shop in Holland now, just over the last few weeks, like a barrage put up outside. Like, seriously. The police are watching almost everybody from every angle that enters every coffee shop. So on one level, there is this sort of like low-level harassment towards the public to make with police, and we've got to make. But on the other side, I'm working with what is going on. I'm sort of really on the cutting edge of where it's all at in terms of information and discovery. And I'm working with some amazing people and groups, and we're doing some great stuff. One of the groups I'm very heavily involved with and is the International Tribunal into Crimes of the Church State, which was set up by Kevin Annett. And basically, we ran through the International Common Law Courts of Justice. We ran a tribunal for the side of the Native Children of Canada. And I was one of the citizen jurors on that. And with that, I made a documentary about Kevin Annett. It's called Two Rows, which you can also check out on my website. And I kept deleting all the sort of court proceedings that we posted. So independent channel separate from YouTube. I built it for him. It's itccs.tv. And it's got all the documentation of, like, we filmed everything. We filmed all the presenting of the evidence of this. We basically created a model for people who want to set up their own common law courts. So we've put it online. We've given it to everybody else to replicate. It's the simplest, easiest model we've been able to work with. And we've made it completely transparent by making the world the jury, by presenting everything to everybody, not just to a closed court of people. Okay.
You're talking about the common law court. Part of the conversation there you were talking just cut out there. Are you talking about the OPPT or something different with the common law court?
The International Tribunal to Crimes of the Church and State was set up by Kevin Annett to basically judge crimes of church and state. And it is different to the OPPT. We set up the common law courts and basically filmed all the proceedings that happened with regards to bringing Canada's genocide to a tribunal, and it's all online, and everyone can check it out. We've set up a model of a common law to replicate. So, it's not like people go, oh, shit, okay, if we get rid of the structure, what are we going to do? We've got sort of ideas in place, but what we call transparent open courts, where everybody can look at the evidence and see for themselves what's going on. It's not just a closed group of people. It's not got anything to do with OPP necessarily. However, I think at the end of the day, their objectives ultimately lay in the same direction.
Okay. Listen, Mel, we have a few questions that are coming in, and we're just watching the time as well. So we're going to quick fire the questions over to you, if you can answer them in a sentence or two. Steve?
Right, okay, Mel, yeah, we do have a few questions, but some of them, again, are kind of asking about your opinion on different people involved in the truth movement. Yeah. And I know from what you said that you don't really want to go down the road of...
If you give me specific people, we'll talk. I'm not don't mind too much about that.
Okay, well, the first question that came in from Chris, and Chris wants to know, what is your opinion on Dr. Greer? And I'm guessing that's
Stephen Greer.
Dr.
Stephen Greer.
Controlled opposition. Next one.
Oh, okay, that's fair enough. Benjamin Fulford.
Question mark. The other way.
Okay. Tex Mars.
I have an opinion on him. I don't know his work well enough to say.
Okay. That one come in and said they were wondering about Tex Mars. They say he's kind of the US version of the UK's Ian Crane.
Yeah, he is. Actually, he falls into that category for me. But look, I'm very fair. I would never say something about someone without actually knowing exactly everything about them.
Yeah.
And from what I know of him, yes, he does fall into that category, but it wouldn't be fair of me to say that without actually spending more time looking at his stuff.
No, that's a very honest and truthful answer. Fair play.
Good. Yeah.
Another one in says, from Lucid said, they agree that the Nelson... I agree, I'll just read it as it's written. I agree that Nelson Mandela was got, in inverted commas, just from connecting the dots. And from the same person, they're wondering what your opinion may be on Chris Everard.
Chris Everard. Oh, I don't. Also, again, I have looked at a few of his things a few years back, and I go back. People who resonate and they grab me are normally the ones. And again, it sounds like because they grab me, they must be right. No, but again, everyone's got to go with what works. And Chris just doesn't grab me, in that way that people who I believe are genuine grab me. But it's interesting that the people who are your questions, people that fit into that category coming through. See, people are not fools. They can work it out for themselves, just looking at the information.
Yeah.
Okay.
I totally agree. I'll just give my own personal opinion for anyone who's interested on Chris. I've seen a lot of Chris's work. I've seen some of his documentaries, and I think my own opinion, and again, it's not the opinion of OYM. I think Chris wants to be an actor. I think he actually wants to be an actor. He doesn't. I think he just wants to be on TV, portraying a character. That's just my own opinion. And the last one here. So far, your thoughts on Brian Gerrish.
I knew someone was going to ask. I'm sure you don't have another hour for me. Okay, let's start at the very top of this one. The UK column. For me, it's always important to establish where the funding of any organisation comes from, to establish, who really controls them and what they're about. So, of course, when the Holly Gregg sort of story broke that it was a hoax, and calling themselves the Holly Gregg hoax group, they're a collective of people that basically do the whole Holly Gregg story. And now I actually believe it's a hoax now, having looked at all the evidence. What we started doing was looking at why people like Brian Gerrish, UK column, David Icke weren't actually prepared to look at the evidence that was being presented, because it's very, very convincing. It's compelling. Yeah?
Yeah.
So they weren't looking at the evidence, and we started questioning, okay, what is really going on here? And this is part of why psyops going on within the truth movement, apart from what Judy Wills confirmed to me. And they all follow suit of the same agenda. Okay, so let's look at the funding for the UK column. During my trying to find out who the UK column is run by and what, the financial manager of the UK column, Sheila Bragg, underestimated me by telling me that a woman called, I beg your pardon, Carol Bragg is her name, Carol Bragg, financial manager of the UK column. She underestimated me by telling me Sheila Butler funded the startup of the UK column. So I do a little research on Sheila Butler. Turns out she is the daughter of the third Earl of Kitchener, the granddaughter of the second Earl of Kitchener, and the great niece of the first Earl of Kitchener, which is Lord Horatio Kitchener, who is basically to South Africa equivalent of Hitler. I mean, he set up the first concentration camps 40 years before Hitler ever did in South Africa. Knocked out like 26,000 of my ancestors, the Boers. So from all this, from meeting Brian Gerrish and working all this out and doing a bit of research into my own history into the Boers and Kitchener and a connection to the UK column, I've actually ended up making a documentary, which is out in a few days, called The Last of the Boer, about Boer genocide. It's Boer genocide money that has set up the UK column to start. Then there's the fact that one of the people, I've been approached by many intelligence agency fronts who wanted me to come work for them and do information analysis, stuff like that. One of them happens to be something called the LaRue Institute, who got in touch with, they claim to be the biggest independent sort of, intelligence agency that's not controlled by the powers that be. Rubbish. They're controlled by the powers that be, okay? But they try to recruit me. Now, from the LaRue Institute, guess who? Mike Robinson, who is the editor of the UK column, is very closely associated with them. In fact, I think he's one of their operatives, okay? Because this session came from them directly, the LaRue Institute, who tried to recruit me. And, of course, before being recruited to buy them for 150,000 euros a year, okay, which would be lovely. You know, imagine how much I could travel and see people with that. I turned it down after I kind of worked out who they really were by doing just a little bit of research, particularly researching some of the stories which they had back, which were absolutely fake. So there's a lot that points out that the UK column is nothing more than what I referred to earlier, which is controlled opposition. Yes, there are people who realize mainstream media's bullshit. Hey, a 6-year-old can work it out, you know. Do me a favor, the real story of 9/11 insults the intelligence of a child. So, yes, there's a lot of people who need another place to look. That's where you get the controlled opposition. And guess what? The UK column sits smack in the middle of it. And if that's not bad enough, there's a lovely group on Facebook called Email Conversations with Brian Garish, where you can go email conversations that Brian Garish has had with myself and so many other people. They just post them there. The man is half crazy. The things he says. I mean, he actually, get this, he actually said to me, because I said, look, there's just no evidence to prove that Holly was ever abused. It's lacking evidence. Somehow he had information that I've been abused as a child. And he said, well, Mel, if you don't provide evidence you've been abused, I'm starting the Mel Ve hoax. So he wants to start a hoax group about me because I wouldn't provide him with evidence of my abuse, which I'd never told him about. He'd heard about it from somebody else. He's a very twisted man. And just the logic by which he works, completely, he deflects and blames everybody else. It's some of the allegations, the accusations he made about me and my husband are just so far-fetched. I mean, mess. So just, you know, full stop, Brian Garish is a liar, and we've caught him out many times. And considering he's writing a newspaper that's supposed to be helping people and telling the truth. And I've had it from someone who used to work very closely with him at the UK column. She was a former journalist there. She said, actually, when he goes to court, he doesn't know what he's doing. He scups more cases, he helps, and also shows that sometimes he does it deliberately. So there's my answer to the Brian Garish in a nutshell.
Yeah, I just hope everyone was able to get that, because the halfway through it, Mel, the internet was kind of breaking up fairly badly. So I hopefully everyone was able to you know, understand that. Yeah, I mean, we've actually had Brian Garish on the show, on our show as well. As Alan said earlier, we just invite people on who are involved in the truth movement, just to hear different people's opinions. I mean, whether we believe it or not, you know, really doesn't count. We just want people to be able to share their information. But I mean, from what you're saying, I mean, it's kind of looking like that Brian may not be all that he's cracked up to be. But when we had him on, I have to say, a lot of what he did say and the way he said it, now, I don't know, maybe if the man is a trained actor or something, but from what he said, it sounded genuine and fair and very believable to me, as does what you're saying. I mean, what you're coming across there, you sound very believable, very honest and very passionate about what you're saying too, so I don't know. I mean,
it's up to the listeners to decide what, you know, how they feel.
Making you choose, you know.
No, we're not going to choose. It's down to the listeners. I mean, whatever our opinion is, that's our opinion. But we get people on like yourself and Brian and Ian and everybody else, and we let people hear what you have to say, and then they can go off and they can make, you know, a rational judgment call on what they feel is right or wrong and what resonates with them. This is the whole idea about being the media. You know, the mainstream media, as you know, Mel, they will give you their version of what they think. So you're getting the watered down version. We rather get people on and give our listeners the raw version of the information, and then let them decide. That's the whole idea of what we do. And that's why, you know, and That's why we do it, to get the information out there so people can hear what's being said, and then they can make choices. So you've come on tonight, you've talked about a lot of things that might, people will have to go away and have a think about, and go, okay, we need to look into this a bit more, and I do believe that people have to go and investigate. There's no point having somebody coming on, regardless of who they are, and they're saying their piece, and then people going off saying, oh yeah, well, I accept that. I think people have to go off and do their own research, and I think you'd agree with that. They have to go off and do their own research.
Do you know what? I don't trust anybody that doesn't do their own research. You know what? People write to me daily asking me, what is your opinion? And you know what? I just write back to them almost wanting to swear at them, going, no, it actually doesn't matter what my opinion is. What matters only what you think, because you create your reality. Again, this is why I've said, when people ask me as specific people, I don't want to start to individuals, because there's a long list. Okay, we could be here for a long time. There's a long list, and there's a long list of experience. I've worked with a lot of those people personally. I've met them. I've been doing this for some time. I've got over 4 years worth of information, archived interviews, etc. So, I've gotten to know how the behind the scenes of the truth movement really works and what it's really all about. And yes, the truth movement is largely a psyops. And I'll tell you why. Because truth doesn't need a movement. Only lies do.
No, listen, I agree with the whole psychology behind it, because that's my background. And it makes logical sense to me that the truth movement has to be controlled and infiltrated, because that's the only way they're going to control it. If you control both sides of the chessboard, then it doesn't matter who wins. You win either way. So that's the main thing. Exactly. But, go ahead.
Who those agents are, again, it's up to people to discern for themselves. You want to chat to me about it? I'll gladly chat to you about them. Give you my opinion. I can present you some concrete evidence, certain people. But again, I don't really want to slander people, because I still think some of those people who have hardcore concrete evidence that work for the dark side, I still read their books. They're of value. They have a place. So, where do we... it's not for me to pass judgment. And I did mention again, I was a assistant juror on the International Tribunal to Crimes of the Church and State on Canada's genocide. And one of the most difficult things for me was when yes, they're all guilty without a doubt, guilty on all counts. But I'm not here to say, hey man, you're going to get the death chair. I want to put you away for 24 hours. I don't believe that is the way the world evolves forward. We need to look past each other's differences and forgive each other's mistakes and sins, because to be honest with you, our sins aren't that different, really. I mean, I'm not saying I'm a pedophile, don't be wrong. What I'm saying is, at the end of the day, ultimately, it's not going to go anywhere if we still stick to the old paradigm of punishment, judgment, and suffering. I think move beyond that is definitely the way we move forward. And I think that's the way it works within my research as well. Yeah, there's certain people who I know have our best intentions in mind, who are service to humanity, and there are definitely other people who are more service to themselves than they are to humanity. And that's what tips the balance.
Okay. Well, we're going to have to finish up now, Mel. But a quick one-liner. Are we winning?
Yes.
We are winning.
Damn right.
Okay. So the walls are falling down.
You can see it every day around you. Every day I see it. I'm on the cutting edge of this, and yes, it's going to get... The onslaught is tougher than ever now, but we need to stay focused, not get distracted by agents of deception, which is why I don't mind so much talking up about some of these people, because we need to know who... We need to kind of know... They're not all coming from the same place. We're not all working in the same direction. Yeah, some people working against the grain here.
Yeah.
That's all. That's it, really.
Okay. Well, now listen. Thanks a lot for coming on. And Steve, you've one more question, very quickly.
No, I don't have a question. I have a comment from Chris. We're going to go out on a good note here. Chris says, lads, a big thank you to Mel. I admire her passion, and she has given me food for thought. Thanks, Mel. And that's from Chris.
Oh, lovely. Thanks, Chris.
Brilliant. All right, Mel. Well, listen. Thanks a lot for coming on. And Yeah. I'm going to pass you over to Steve, and Steve's going to just get your details so you can let people know where they can find your information. So, Steve, over to you.
Well, I don't have to ask you now. Yeah, Mel, where can people find out more about you and say, look at more of your work?
Sure. As I said, we've got just over 4 years of interviews, documentaries, all of which my own work, and that's at freedomcenter.info. And of course, then I do a weekly show on a Sunday night on Finding Voices Radio. Documentary coming out this week, guys, so please hang on and look for that. That's The Last of Us, and you can download a free ebook copy of the first book in my trilogy, The Guide to the Globe Conspiracy. Book One Night in Dark is available to download for free. The second goes up in the next month.
Brilliant stuff. All right, Mel, stay with us there for a minute, and we'll just go off to a piece of music. We'll be back after this.
This is Open Your Mind Radio on OYMIreland.com, CNSradio.ning.com and ICRadioNetwork.com.
That was a very short radio edit of Carly Simon, You're So Vain.
It was very, very quick, and because we have 5 minutes left, so we have to kind of wind up things. Do you know what Vin's doing tonight, Steve?
Not interviewing Mel Ve, hopefully. No, I didn't even ask.
Okay. While Steve is checking into that was interesting. We did say we'd get Mel Ve on to get her opinion. It is her opinion that what's going on, and if you want to check out more about what she thinks about everybody else there, obviously go up to her website and check it out. We reserve judgment. We have our own opinions, but it's not. We're not going to give you our opinions. You have to make up your own mind on what you feel about it.
It's interesting, though, as Chris did say. I mean, it is kind of food for thought because I mean, we have many different people on the show come on to be interviewed. We don't know if they're right or if they're wrong. As I say, Brian come on. We've had Brian on. We've met Brian. Brian to me is a lovely gentleman. He's salt of the earth, and anytime we've spoken to him, he comes across, he's very passionate as well about what he believes, as is Mel. But, I mean, as we always say, well, we don't always say, but we have said in the past about your belief or your belief system. It's kind of, ours will be fluid because it can change. I mean, we don't believe that Brian Gerrish is right and Mel Ve is wrong. We don't believe Mel Ve is right and Brian Gerrish is wrong. We believe in the quest for truth, and we listen to what both parties have to say, and we form our own opinion. As you always say, it's what resonates with us.
Exactly.
And even if we believe one person over the other, we could be believing the wrong person too.
Yeah, exactly. So we reserve judgment, and we just give you the raw facts, the raw interview with these people, and then you make up your own mind. That's the whole idea, guys.
I'd hate to get into an argument with Mel Ve, though. I would hate to get into an argument with that woman.
Yeah, okay. I wouldn't like to do it after a few beers.
No.
Be even worse.
No.
Okay.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, next week we have Max Egan on the show. Hopefully, Max is actually relocating at the moment in Australia, so hopefully he should be available. I'll send him an email just to remind him that he's on next week. And Max is going to give us an update on what he's been up to and what's been going on and how he feels about things in Europe and maybe Australia as well, because there's a few things going on down there. And in New Zealand as well, there's a Vinny Eastwood. We must get Vinny on because there's a few things going on in New Zealand as well, which are not very good. But apparently, very quickly, as we are located in Meath, County Meath in Ireland here, we haven't received our property charge paperwork. And as Steve mentioned the other day, the reason why we probably haven't received it is because there's a by-election going on, and Ben Gilroy from DDI is going to be obviously in the running. And
as are some other candidates.
And yeah, as are some other candidates. But isn't it funny that if we are not receiving the property charge paperwork, because as Steve quite rightly says, you know, they don't want people to remember how bad the government was and what they're trying to do. So they've obviously delayed the property charge paperwork until after the election. That's very nice of them. Very corrupt of them too, but very nice of them as well at the same time. So thanks for tuning in. We got 2 minutes left, and I'd just like to say sorry about the bad, bit ropey internet, but there's nothing we can do. It's out of our control, and I have a bad cold, and I just hope next week it should be all gone. I did take some MMS, so it is in my system at the moment, but it's probably taken this time to actually work. But however, we will soldier on as usual, and we'll and we'll see you next week. Steve.
Yes.
Plan for the week?
Yeah, pretty much more the same. Gonna get up at 6:15 in the morning and see if the groundhog can see a shadow and then blah 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 blah. Yeah, Groundhog Day. But back to work tomorrow.
5:30.
5:30.
5:30.
Wow, right. Give us a knock when you're passing, will you?
Yeah.
Thanks to Mel for being on, and also a very big thanks to Mariel as well, who's still in the chat room. And it was a pleasure having you on. Hopefully we'll get some people over to your website and they'll buy some of that soap. The gun soap, I don't know. Would it be legal to carry the gun soap? I don't know. Is that a bar of soap in your pocket? Are you just happy to see me? We'll try and get the Waltons music for next week.
Yeah, we will. TRP quickly said on TNS, we forgot to ask Mel Ve about her Spice Girls experience. Didn't even know about it, TRP, so...
Or Spice Girls? Was she in the Spice Girls?
Well, maybe she auditioned for them, I don't know.
I do remember there was something, she was in some newspaper article, where she bared all for the camera. I'm not sure exactly what that was about, but yeah, I'm sure someone can find it somewhere.
That's another story. Okay, listen, take care of yourself and stay safe. If you have any news, let us know. Otherwise, take care. For myself, Alan James, good night.
And for myself, Stephen George as well. We'll do it all again next week. Groundhog Day. Good luck. Good night. God bless.
Open your mind.